Well, hello and welcome back to MBE Box Office, where we discuss and break down the top 10 best performing movies in the United Kingdom's box office. And Stephen, this is for the weekend of June 28th to 30th, 2019. We're, of course, a week behind, but we're back because we weren't here last week discussing the box office because we've been very busy, boys. Me in particular.
Yes.
So I can safely say that I've not seen the vast majority of the new releases. In fact, all of the new releases in this week's box office. Hopefully you'll bail me out. What's at number one?
Well, talking about new releases, John, I like the new white wall we've got there. But listen,
new white wall,
number one this week is Toy Story 4. In its second week, it's grossed £8.3 million over the weekend, grossing £27 million overall.
£27 million after 2 weeks. It's another
outstanding
for Disney again, Stephen. And you always expected this to be the case with Toy Story 4. This is an absolute classic franchise. Everybody loves it. I don't know anybody who has a bad word to say about Woody and the gang. I've not yet had a chance to see it. I've heard mixed responses. Also, the critics themselves have been gushing wildly over this movie about how great it is, how it could potentially be the greatest Toy Story movie of all time. It's got a very emotional ending, but then people I know personally have went and seen it and says it's not so good. So I don't know what to make of it. But look, I've not got much to add to the box office just now because I don't have the tab opened. But once I can check the worldwide box office, then I'll let you know.
Yeah. One thing for sure, John, I thought after the third one that would be it. I didn't think there was any gas left in the tank. But needless to say, and I have heard this as well, mostly from the sort of professional critics out there, saying that this is a outstanding movie. We will be talking about it in a few weeks' time, maybe a few months' time, on the blog rundown. We've got a lot to catch up with on that show. But I've heard a few people, in my family saying that it's not as good as the third one.
That doesn't surprise me because the third one is a very good movie.
Yeah.
So you've got really high bar to get to there.
But listen, I'm going to go and see it this week. I'll make my own judgment on it as well. And can't wait to see it.
Stephen, I'll go with you because I have to go and see this movie. But look, $649.9 million worldwide after 2-3 weeks. I think Box Office Mojo, in terms of international numbers, are more up to date. So that'll probably be our latest figure.
Yeah.
Just shy of $700 million after 3 weeks.
Amazing.
Extraordinary. Disney just know how to make the coin. That's why they're called the House of a Mouse, I believe. That's why they can afford to expand their parks nearly every year. And they don't care that they're ghost towns.
Yeah.
Well, that's another subject.
Listen, we'll move on to number 2 this week, John. It's a film that we are both anticipating watching as well, and we'll be talking about on the blog rundown. And its first week, it's yesterday, grossing $2.2 million overall.
That's not too bad, Stephen, for a fairly smaller release in the United Kingdom. I'd have expected it to do a little bit better. Did you say that's its second weekend, or is that its first weekend?
It's first week, yeah.
First weekend? Well, that's not too bad then. Obviously, it's about the Beatles, as I did say. I'd have expected it to do a little bit better, purely because it is surrounding one of the greatest, if not the greatest, in my opinion, bands of all time. It's Danny Boyle. The guy knows how to make a movie. He's also got great fan bases within the United Kingdom. So 2.2 million, it's not to be sneered at, but it's not amazing either. Worldwide, 56.9, just shy of $57 million. It's pretty decent, as I did say. Can't have a big budget, $26 million budget, so it's on its way to making a decent little profit. Also, it's starring, I can't recall the chap's name, Hamish Patel, I think his name is, from EastEnders fame.
Yeah.
He looks very good, he can sing, he can act very well. I've seen a little leak scene, I don't know if I want to admit that. I had to watch it.
Yeah, we'll not talk about that, John, because that's a major spoiler. But Lily James in there as well. But this is a movie, obviously, the director stepped away from Bond 25 to do. So,
and who can blame him?
Yeah. So I will be going to see that this week. But we'll move on to number 3, John, to a film we've both seen. And it's 6 weeks now. It's Aladdin. And it's grossed £700,000 over the weekend, $33.8 million overall.
Yes, and just creeping up to $1 billion worldwide, Stephen. Wow. It's going to hit $1 billion. There's no doubt about it. I don't think there's any doubt. $183 million budget. Massive success again for Disney. Don't know what it is with this company. They just know how to remaster classic cartoons or movies and then make them to a real gold standard where everybody goes out and gets that nostalgia ride. New generations come out and experience it in a totally different style. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
The way things are going, John, I think Disney are going to be competing with themselves very soon in the next decade or so. But I liked it. Will Smith.
Very good.
I think we've spoke about him before. his performance. I thought he did really well. A different take to the Robin Williams one. Still not as good, but that's not very fair because I felt that he took it in a new direction and he had to, you know. And I think he had a lot of expectancy on his shoulders as well, and most of the pressure wasn't on him, just because of how well Robin Williams did with the animated character.
That's one of the all-time great Robin Williams performances from me, Stephen. So he was a great actor, an incredibly funny chap, put all of his heart and soul into it.
Yeah.
Will Smith's off the same sort of a cut, so I fully expected him to come in, put his own stamp on it, and he did. And look, Mina Massoud, Naomi Scott, people like that came in. The chap that played Jafar, I think it was, he was pretty damn decent as well. I think he was Dutch.
Yeah,
never heard of him
remember
before.
His name, you know.
No, I can never remember his name, but I'm pretty sure he was Dutch. He was very good. Didn't quite hit the standards of the original movie as an overwhelming whole, but I still enjoyed it, and it fully deserves to have the success it's seeing at the box office.
Number 4 this week, it's Men in Black International in its 3rd week. It's grossed another £500,000 over the weekend, and £6 million overall.
Yeah, a movie which perhaps doesn't have, we're having issues with the audio there. Hopefully we're not going to have crap camera audio for like 25 seconds of this video, because that wouldn't be good. But yeah, as I did say, Stephen, a movie that perhaps also deserves its box office performance in not so positive terms. $110 million budget, grossed just over $244 million worldwide. Obviously the Chris Hemsworth, Tessa Thompson led sort of a quasi-reboot retelling of the Men in Black story. No Tommy Lee Jones in there, no Will Smith, and apparently it's pretty crap, all in all. So I've not seen it. I've no intentions of going to see it now.
It's a shame, but I think we did the trailer reaction for this a few months ago, John, and that was the vibes I got from the actual trailer, was that I don't think I'm really going to get my way to see this movie. I wasn't really that bothered about Men in Black 3, although it's more memorable than the second one, ironically, I think, because of the casting, but I didn't have the urge to go out and see this one, so I think if I catch it on maybe Sky Movies or on a streaming service maybe at the end of the year, whenever it will be released, I might catch it then, but I'm not getting...
We both went to see Men in Black 3 together.
That's right,
I think
2012,
yeah. Josh Brolin and Will Smith, that's why we went.
Yeah,
and I would have thought Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson would have had that pull as well, but sadly not, it's not to be.
No, but listen, number 5 this week, surprise, is in its 4th week now. This secret cinema thing is pretty much catching on here. It's a Casino Royale, and it's grossed another £400,000 over the weekend, $2 million overall. Yeah,
Stephen, this dropped down to 1 theatre a couple of weeks back. Now it's back up to 11 theatres, and it's going strong. £358,000 over the weekend for 11 theatres. Said it time and again, that must be absolutely exuberant, the tickets for this experience. I know you go in, you're not allowed your phone, you become immersed. There's actors who come in and make you feel part of the world and whatnot. Don't know how that would work with Bond. But yeah, it was a good film. It was a great film, some would say. I'm not the biggest Bond fan. It's just adding exponentially though onto its all-time grossing. I think it's sitting within the top 5 in the United Kingdom.
I think Bond 25's got a lot to do with this as well. This
possibly,
you know, the buzz around this movie's release as well, and it's with this being Daniel Craig's last Bond film and this being his first one, I think there's a lot of connection there, John. But moving on to number 6 this week, it's Avengers Endgame in its 10th week. It's grossed another £400,000 over the weekend and a massive $90.2 million overall.
Yes, Stephen, it's sitting just shy. I think I've not actually got the page in front of me. That's the wrong film. We'll get there in the end, I'm sure. But yeah, it's not far off of Avatar. I think it's something like $16 million or something. But sadly, even the reissue thing aside, it's not going to, I think, catch Avatar as the all-time grossing movie in the also history of cinema, whatever what you call it. I'm tripping here. Try to find this page. $2,772,000,000 it's grossed. It's ridiculous. I think it would already be number 1 if it wasn't for Avatar itself having a re-release. And look, it's sad it's not going to catch Avatar as the number 1. I think it's sitting at 2.788 billion, so it's not far off, as I did say, but it's not going to do it. And we spoke about the movie time and again in terms of the actual experience of going to see it. It's an incredible movie. I didn't actually get the chance. I says I would go and watch the reissued version, but I heard some of the early feedback and that soured me a little bit. Apparently it's only like 15 seconds of additional footage at the end, and it feels half finished. And that obviously aside with tributes to Stan Lee and whatnot, but Not enough to entice me, sadly.
Yeah, I think Marvel and Disney were hoping that perhaps that with the release of the new Spider-Man film, it would, get people back into cinemas to see Endgame, but sadly not.
No.
But we'll move on to number 7 this week. It's Rocketman in its 6th week.
Yes.
It's grossed £300,000 over the weekend and $22.1 million overall.
And it's grossed $173.8 million worldwide off of a $40 million budget, Stephen. That is a mighty successful profit for, obviously, I think it was Paramount and Dexter Fletcher. Also, the classic, as you did say, retelling of Elton John's life. It's a great musical biopic. We spoke about it. I do believe we spoke about it on the blog rundown. Really enjoyed it. It was an out-and-out musical. It was out and it was proud. About a guy who was also out and proud as well. I really enjoyed the story. I really enjoyed this trip down memory lane, the utilisation of classic musical numbers, just the almost life of debauchery at times that this guy lived with drugs and whatnot. It fully deserves its success. Sadly, it's not quite been as successful as Bohemian Rhapsody. I think it hit a ridiculous sum of like $500 million worldwide. That was a different movie. This is more musical, and I know some people get put off with that, but success nonetheless.
Yeah, definitely was. Yeah, number 8 this week, John. It's Apollo 11.
Yes.
And its first week's grossed £300,000 overall.
Yeah, overall, yeah. And in terms of worldwide, we don't have worldwide numbers. All we have is domestic numbers for the US, which is sitting just shy of $9 million. So that, in conjunction with also this grossing over here, it's probably just hitting over $9 million overall. I think this is a documentary, Stephen. It's a historical documentary about the world famous Apollo 11 mission, also when they went to the moon and they landed on the moon. Some would say they didn't land on the moon. I think they did, because they have little mirrors up there at the landing sites and you can point lasers off them and they come back. But look, I don't know anything about it. All I know is that Todd Douglas Miller directed it, and it stars the likes of Buzz and whatnot themselves. So it's something I'll perhaps catch if it comes on Netflix. But I'm not going to go and watch it in a theatre when I've got such a backlog of other movies and other great movies coming out as well.
Yeah, what was the Neil Armstrong film from last year again?
First Man.
First Man, yeah. I mean, that was
really
fantastic.
Enjoyed that.
And I liked it for its authenticity. That's obviously been a documentary. You can't get more authentic than that because it's the actual people. But I think if I can get my, wherever it's going to be shown, hopefully in Glasgow, I think I would probably pop along to see that because I'm quite interested in that kind of thing. But we'll move on to number 9 this week, John. It's The Secret Life of Pets 2 in its 6th week. It's grossed £300,000 over the weekend, $17.8 million overall. Yes, it's dropped 39.7%. That's not too bad, Stephen, for a 6th weekend. It's now shown in 494 theatres. As you did say, £17.8 million. That's not too bad for a run-of-the-mill animated movie, obviously from Illumination Studios. I think it's Illumination Studios. Universal overall is the studio that's obviously distributed it. $80 million budget. It's $262.4 million grossing worldwide. It's not bad. It's made a profit. Getting a little bit of slang in there. Not bad, I should say. I went to see it. I thought it was okay. I've said time and again, I liked the introduction of a character like Rooster, I think it was. Obviously, it was Harrison Ford playing him. But just all in all, it didn't feel as cohesive and well made as the original. The story was lacklustre. The villain, in and out. I think it was Sergei, some Russian circus owner who was torturing a white tiger, and it didn't feel like it was coming together nicely. It didn't weave well for me. But look, the characters are colourful, the animation's great, and it's made a profit, so hats off to them for that. Number 10 this week, John, it's Dark Phoenix, and it's in its 4th week, and it's grossed another £200,000 over the weekend, $7.1 million overall.
$245.7 million worldwide, Stephen. I think this had quite an extensive budget. I can't actually get $200 million budget is the estimated figure, so this has not made a profit. It's an absolute flop. It's a real shame. But obviously that's what happens when you bring in people who have not directed a movie. This is their first directing gig, big blockbuster movie, tying up a culmination of 19 years of work. Simon Kinberg, obviously, guy who produced a lot of the stuff, but when it came time to step into the actual helm himself, didn't quite work. The movie felt, as you did say before, like 3 separate movies. Tonally and pacing wise, it didn't feel right. If they'd nailed more of that final act all the way through, it could have been a real exhilarating ride.
The final act was a real problem with me, John. I thought it started off well, kind of dipped in the middle, and then it just went off the rails.
And that villain was just terrible, Stephen. Obviously, who was it played by again? I can't recall. Albino, Jessica Chastain. Wasn't a great villain. It was almost as bad as Cara Delevingne's villain, that crazy witch thing from Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Didn't work. It's just lacklustre, really. That's the best word. It wasn't a terrible movie, but it wasn't a very good movie.
Some of the
either.
lines as well, Jennifer Lawrence one was terrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely shocking.
I don't know if you've noticed around here, but the women are always saving the men. Maybe we should call it ex-women.
Yeah, maybe they should.
I think we'll end on that note, Stephen. That is the end of this week's MBE box office, because I've not got much more to add. That's just tragic. What did you guys make of the various different placings in this week's box office? Are you stunned by Disney's continued success when it comes to Pixar and remaking classic animated movies? Are you stunned that Endgame didn't catch Avatar and it's not going to catch Avatar? What's your thoughts on that? If you've got any, you can comment below and let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. That's what they're there for. Like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content, and we will be back again tomorrow with MBE Heroes.